What makes a Sigma female go from calm to savage in just seconds? The answer lies in her very nature. She is quiet, observing the world with an almost eerie detachment, always analyzing, always calculating. She moves through life on her own terms, unbothered by social expectations, uninterested in the constant need for validation that consumes others. Unlike alphas who assert dominance or betas who seek approval, she exists in a league of her own, independent, self-sufficient, and fiercely private. To the outside world, she may seem unbothered, indifferent even, but make no mistake, her silence is not weakness, it is restraint. And when that restraint is broken, when her boundaries are trampled on, when her respect is disregarded, when someone foolishly mistakes her composed demeanor for submission, everything changes in an instant. Sigma females don't seek drama. They don't entertain petty arguments or waste time on emotional outbursts. Their energy is too valuable to be spent on trivial conflicts. But that doesn't mean they're pushovers. In fact, they are the last people you want to test. Unlike those who react impulsively to disrespect, the Sigma female waits. She assesses, she calculates, she ensures that when she makes a move, it's not just a reaction, it's a statement. She doesn't respond to hostility with the same reckless aggression others might. Instead, she dismantles situations with precision, leaving those who underestimated her in complete shock. She doesn't argue, she simply removes herself. She doesn't retaliate with words. She delivers her response through undeniable success. She doesn't beg for fairness. She ensures that no one has the power to manipulate her ever again. When her boundaries are violated, when someone attempts to control her, when disrespect is thrown in her direction, she doesn't break. She strikes. And when she does, it's not always loud or visible. Sometimes her savagery is subtle, almost imperceptible at first. A cold stare, a slight smirk, the way she effortlessly withdraws, leaving the offender confused, scrambling, suddenly aware that they no longer have access to her energy. Other times, it's as swift as a lightning strike, a decisive move that cuts people off, exposes deceit, or shifts the entire dynamic in her favor. She will not plead for loyalty. She will not argue for respect. She will not fight for a place in anyone's life. If she senses disloyalty, she leaves. If she recognizes manipulation, she distances herself. If someone crosses her, she makes sure they never get the opportunity to do so again. People who mistake her patience for passivity are always in for a rude awakening. Because a Sigma female doesn't just walk away from those who cross her, she elevates herself beyond their reach. She turns their betrayal into motivation, their disrespect into discipline, their manipulation into mastery. And when they finally realize what they've lost, it's too late. She's already moved forward, stronger than ever, completely unbothered by those who once thought they had any control over her. That's the power of a Sigma female in savage mode, silent, calculated, and absolutely unstoppable. Sigma females are the rarest personality type, fiercely independent, highly intelligent, and emotionally untouchable. They don't fit into traditional social roles, nor do they try to. Unlike alphas who crave leadership or betas who seek approval, Sigma females walk their own path, untouched by societal expectations. They aren't driven by a need to impress others, nor do they feel the pressure to conform. Instead, they move in silence, mastering their own lives without needing validation from anyone. Their independence is their greatest strength, and their intelligence makes them nearly impossible to deceive. Yet, despite their power, most people don't see them coming. In a world where loud voices are mistaken for authority, the quiet nature of a Sigma female is often misinterpreted as weakness. People assume that because she isn't quick to react, she must not have the courage to stand up for herself. They think that because she keeps to herself, She must be afraid to challenge those who wrong her. Big mistake. A Sigma female isn't weak. She's watching. She notices every detail, picking up on subtle shifts in behavior, tone, and energy. She reads between the lines, sensing manipulation before it even takes root. She doesn't waste time in unnecessary conflicts, and she definitely doesn't engage in petty drama. But that doesn't mean she won't respond when the time is right. The difference between a Sigma and others is how she responds. While most people react impulsively when they're disrespected, a Sigma female doesn't. She calculates. She doesn't allow emotions to control her actions. Instead of lashing out in the heat of the moment, she steps back and evaluates the situation. Is this worth her energy? Is there a smarter way to handle it? How can she turn the situation to her advantage? While others are busy reacting, she's strategizing. And when she finally makes her move, it's not just to defend herself, it's to make a statement. If she's disrespected, she won't waste time arguing. She'll simply withdraw her presence, making the other person feel the weight of her absence. If someone tries to manipulate her, she won't fight back with words. She'll let their own deception unravel them. If she's betrayed, she won't seek revenge. She'll level up so fast that the person who hurt her will become irrelevant. Before we move on, I want to take a moment to kindly ask for your support. I know it can be easy to just watch a video and move on, but did you know that 98% of my viewers don't take the time to like, comment, or subscribe? That's honestly a bit disappointing, because your engagement is what allows me to keep creating content to empower and inspire Sigma women like ourselves. So if you're enjoying this video and find the information valuable, please consider taking just a few seconds to hit the like button, leave a thoughtful comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really does make a big difference, and I would be forever grateful for your support. Okay, let's begin. This is what makes her so powerful. She doesn't waste energy on people who don't deserve it. She doesn't let temporary emotions dictate her actions. She operates from a place of control, always thinking 3 steps ahead. And when she finally decides to act, it's with precision, power, and finality. Those who underestimate her quiet nature always regret it. Because the truth is, a Sigma female doesn't have to prove her strength with words or aggression. Her silence is her greatest weapon, her intelligence is her shield, and her ability to walk away from anything that no longer serves her is what makes her truly untouchable. So the next time someone mistakes a Sigma female's silence for weakness, they should remember this. She's not ignoring the situation. She's analyzing it, and when she finally makes her move, there will be no second chances. Sigma females are some of the most misunderstood individuals in society. Their quiet confidence, independence, and emotional self-sufficiency set them apart, making them a mystery to those who don't operate on their level. Because they don't seek attention, overshare emotions, or conform to societal norms, people often misinterpret their nature. This leads to a series of misconceptions, assumptions that paint them as cold, uncaring, or even ruthless. But the truth, a Sigma female isn't indifferent. She isn't emotionless. She isn't cruel. In fact, she often feels things more deeply than others. The difference is, she refuses to let her emotions control her or allow anyone to manipulate her energy. One of the biggest myths about Sigma females is that they simply don't care. Because they don't always show their emotions outwardly, people assume they lack feelings altogether. Some mistake their calm demeanor as a sign of apathy, believing that Sigma females are detached from the world around them. But this assumption couldn't be further from the truth. Sigma females actually care too much. They are highly observant, deeply introspective, and capable of immense emotional depth. The reason they appear distant is not because they lack feelings, but because they guard them. Unlike those who wear their hearts on their sleeves, Sigma females are selective with whom they share their emotions. They don't waste time explaining their feelings to people who won't understand them. Instead, they process things internally, reflecting before responding. When a Sigma female chooses to care about someone, she does so with an intensity that few can match. She values authenticity in her relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional. She won't invest in surface-level connections or entertain people who drain her energy. This is why she appears detached, because she refuses to waste emotional energy on those who haven't earned her trust. Another common belief is that Sigma females are cold, emotionless, or unfeeling. This misconception stems from their ability to remain composed in situations where others would react impulsively. When faced with betrayal, disrespect, or manipulation, a Sigma female doesn't explode in anger or break down in tears. Instead, she calculates. To outsiders, this lack of visible emotional reaction can be unsettling. People expect others to respond with immediate emotion, to show anger when wronged, to cry when hurt, to seek revenge when betrayed. But a Sigma female operates differently. She doesn't need to prove her emotions to anyone. Instead, she internalizes, analyzes, and ensures that any response she gives is deliberate and effective. Her ability to stay calm under pressure isn't a sign of emotional numbness. It's a reflection of her immense self-control. She knows that reacting impulsively often gives power to the other person. By remaining composed, she retains control over the situation and, more importantly, over herself. Because Sigma females don't conform to social expectations, they are often labeled as distant, antisocial, or even arrogant. People assume that because they don't constantly seek social validation, they must not enjoy human connection at all. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Sigma females are selectively social. They don't engage in small talk just for the sake of it, and they don't feel the need to be surrounded by people at all times. This doesn't mean they dislike people. It simply means they prefer meaningful interactions over shallow socializing. Unlike extroverts, who gain energy from being around others, or even introverts, who may seek comfort in close-knit groups, Sigma females exist in a unique space. They are independent thinkers who enjoy solitude as much as they enjoy deep, intellectual conversations. They don't need constant interaction to feel fulfilled. In fact, too much meaningless socializing drains them. That said, when a Sigma female does choose to let someone into her world, she is an incredibly loyal, engaging, and trustworthy companion. She values depth over quantity in her relationships, which is why she often has only a handful of close friends. To those in her inner circle, she is anything but distant. She is deeply connected, attentive, and understanding. So, what's the reality? Sigma females aren't emotionless. They are deeply emotional, but disciplined. They aren't cold. They are selective with their energy. They aren't distant. They just don't waste time on shallow connections. And they aren't ruthless. They just refuse to let toxic people take advantage of their kindness. A Sigma female is one of the most powerful individuals you will ever encounter. She is independent, intelligent, and unapologetically herself. And while she may not fit into society's expectations, that's exactly what makes her so extraordinary. Sigma females are known for their calm, collected, and mysterious nature. They don't seek drama, they don't entertain unnecessary conflicts, and they certainly don't waste time on meaningless interactions. However, this does not mean they are passive or that they tolerate disrespect. In fact, quite the opposite. When a Sigma female's boundaries are crossed, when someone betrays her trust, or when she senses manipulation, she doesn't react emotionally like most people. Instead, she calculates. And when she decides to take action, it is swift, final, and often leaves the other person stunned. One of the fastest ways to unleash a Sigma female's savage side is betrayal. To most people, betrayal hurts, but they often struggle to let go of the person who deceived them. They might seek closure, demand explanations, or hope for an apology. A Sigma female? She doesn't waste her time with any of that. She cuts people off with brutal efficiency. No second chances, no explanations, just silence. Betrayal comes in many forms: lies, deceit, disloyalty, or even subtle acts of manipulation. For most people, betrayal is painful, but they often try to rationalize it. They might say, maybe they didn't mean it, or I'll give them another chance. But a Sigma female doesn't operate this way. She lives by a strict personal code, one that values trust, loyalty, and authenticity above all else. She doesn't need a large social circle, and she doesn't let just anyone into her life. When she does, it's because she has carefully observed and deemed that person worthy of her time and energy. So, when that trust is broken, it's over. No arguments, no confrontation, no emotional breakdowns. A Sigma female's approach to betrayal is like flipping a switch. The moment she realizes she has been lied to or used, she enters a state of complete emotional detachment. She doesn't seek revenge in the traditional sense. There's no yelling, no dramatic confrontations, no desperate attempts to make the betrayer understand what they did. Instead, she simply removes herself from the situation, leaving the other person in complete confusion. They won't get a long text explaining why she's done. They won't get a chance to apologize or justify their actions. One day, they were in her life. Next, they don't exist anymore. And that's what makes it so brutal. How a Sigma female responds to betrayal: she goes completely silent. One of the first things a Sigma female does when she experiences betrayal is shut down all communication. While most people engage in heated arguments or demand an explanation, a Sigma female doesn't waste her breath. She believes actions speak louder than words, and her silence is deafening. There's nothing more unsettling than someone who doesn't react at all. The person who betrayed her may reach out, apologize, or try to justify themselves, but they will be met with absolute nothingness. No response, no reaction. Just a void where the Sigma female used to be. A Sigma female does not dwell on betrayal. She doesn't spend nights crying over it or replaying scenarios in her head. Instead, she makes a cold, calculated decision to remove the person from her life and never look back. She blocks numbers, deletes messages, removes pictures, and moves on as if that person never existed. This level of detachment is what shocks people the most. They assume that because she once cared, she must still have lingering emotions, but they underestimate her ability to let go completely. To a Sigma female, once trust is broken, the connection is dead. There is no reviving it. A Sigma female doesn't just cut people off, she thrives without them. Unlike others who might spiral into depression after being betrayed, a Sigma female uses betrayal as fuel. She pours all her energy into her personal growth, her goals, and her ambitions. The most savage thing about a Sigma female's response to betrayal is that she doesn't waste time plotting revenge. She simply becomes so successful, so independent, and so untouchable that the person who betrayed her realizes what they lost long after she's already moved on. By the time they regret their actions, she's already 10 steps ahead, emotionally, mentally, and even financially. She doesn't sit around hoping they'll feel guilty. She makes sure they see her winning without them, and that is the ultimate power move. Most people, when betrayed, struggle to let go. They want explanations. They want closure. They want to believe that the other person didn't mean to hurt them. A Sigma female, she doesn't operate that way. To her, trust is like a glass mirror. Once shattered, it doesn't matter how many pieces you pick up. The reflection is forever distorted. Even if the person apologizes, even if they promise to change, even if they show genuine remorse, she won't care. She has already moved past the emotional attachment, and once that happens, there is no rewinding. She knows that if someone was capable of betraying her once, they're capable of doing it again. She doesn't believe in learning the hard way. She believes in self-preservation, and that means cutting out toxicity before it has the chance to spread further into her life. Not all betrayals are the same, but there are certain ones that will always trigger a Sigma female to cut ties without hesitation. Sigma females value honesty more than anything. They don't need perfection from others, but they do demand authenticity. If she catches someone lying, whether it's a small, unnecessary lie or a massive act of deception, she's done. A liar is someone she can never fully trust, and she has no time for uncertainty in her life. Whether it's a friend, a partner, or a family member, disloyalty is an instant deal breaker. Sigma females are naturally loyal, and they expect the same in return. The moment she senses betrayal in a relationship, whether it's backstabbing, cheating, or simply a lack of respect, she will vanish, and she won't waste time explaining why. A Sigma female hates being played with. She is intelligent and perceptive, so when someone tries to manipulate her, she sees it immediately. The problem for the manipulator? They usually don't realize she's onto them until it's too late. She will play along just long enough to understand their game, then she will flip the entire script. Without warning, she will expose their manipulation, cut them off, and leave them questioning how they got outsmarted so easily. Sigma females don't keep a large circle, and for good reason. They despise fake people, social climbers, and those who only show up when it benefits them. If she ever realizes that someone in her life is only using her for personal gain, she will cut them off without a second thought. And unlike other personality types, she won't give them a dramatic send-off. She will simply disappear from their life, leaving them wondering why she stopped answering calls, stopped responding to texts, and stopped acknowledging their existence. A Sigma female's ability to go full savage mode is often misunderstood. She doesn't react with rage. She doesn't seek revenge through destruction. Instead, she removes herself, cuts people off effortlessly, and becomes even stronger without them. If someone thinks they can betray a Sigma female and still have access to her energy, they're in for a very harsh reality check, because once she's done, and the silence that follows, that's the loudest response they'll ever get. A Sigma female is not someone who demands respect, she commands it, and the difference between the two is subtle but powerful. While some people seek validation and approval from others, a Sigma female operates on a completely different level. She doesn't need external validation, nor does she chase recognition. Instead, her very presence, attitude, and energy naturally create an atmosphere where people respect her without her ever having to ask for it. But if there's one thing a Sigma female will never tolerate, it's disrespect. She doesn't believe in endless debates, prolonged conflicts, or trying to make someone understand why they crossed the line. That's for people who have time to waste. A Sigma female? She simply removes the person from her world. No warnings, no negotiations, no second chances, and that's what makes her response so powerful. While most people get caught up in confrontations, a Sigma female operates in silence, eliminating toxicity without making a spectacle of it. Most people misunderstand Sigma females. They assume that because she is quiet, independent, and often detached from the crowd, she is indifferent to the way she is treated. Big mistake. A Sigma female is not someone who will tolerate disrespect simply because she doesn't seek social validation. On the contrary, Her self-respect is so unshakable that she has zero tolerance for anyone who fails to acknowledge her boundaries. Unlike more extroverted personality types, who may engage in arguments or attempt to fix disrespectful people, a Sigma female operates differently. She doesn't believe in explaining why she deserves respect. She expects people to recognize it instinctively. And if they don't, she doesn't waste time trying to change them. She just cuts them off and keeps moving forward. This isn't pettiness. This isn't arrogance. It's a fundamental truth of how Sigma females operate. They do not entertain people who drain their energy. They do not give space to those who cross their boundaries. They do not lower their standards just to keep the peace. In short, if you can't respect a Sigma female, you have no place in her life. Disrespect can take many forms, and while some people may not immediately recognize it, a Sigma female has a highly tuned radar for detecting even the subtlest forms of it. She doesn't just react to outright insults. She picks up on microaggressions, passive-aggressive comments, manipulative behaviors, and even energy shifts. And once she senses that someone does not respect her, she mentally starts planning their exit from her life. If there's one thing a Sigma female will never tolerate, it's manipulation. She doesn't fall for mind games, guilt trips, or emotional tricks. In fact, trying to manipulate her is the quickest way to make her cut you off, permanently. Why? Because a Sigma female is highly observant, deeply analytical, and always thinking 3 steps ahead. She doesn't just listen to words, she studies actions, patterns, and intentions, and the moment she senses deception, she mentally removes herself from the situation. Unlike others who might second-guess themselves or give manipulators multiple chances, a Sigma female makes one decision and sticks to it. You tried to play her. You're done. Let's break down exactly why a Sigma female is immune to manipulation, the types of tactics she sees right through, and what happens when someone tries to deceive her. Some people think they can manipulate a Sigma female just because she's quiet, independent, or detached. Big mistake. What they don't realize is that Sigma females possess a unique combination of intuition, logic, and emotional discipline, making them almost impossible to deceive. She reads between the lines. A Sigma female never takes things at face value. She doesn't just hear what you say, she watches how you say it, why you say it, and what you're avoiding saying. If someone compliments her but their energy feels off, she notices. If someone apologizes but doesn't change their actions, she remembers. If someone tries to guilt trip her, she mentally checks out. Most manipulators rely on their targets being unaware, naive, or overly trusting. But a Sigma female, she expects dishonesty from people until they prove themselves otherwise. This doesn't mean she's paranoid, it just means she doesn't let emotions blind her from reality. Manipulators thrive on controlling people who seek approval, attention, or love. They use flattery, gaslighting, and guilt to make their victims doubt themselves. But a Sigma female, she doesn't need external validation. She already knows her worth. She doesn't care if someone disapproves of her choices. She doesn't need reassurance to trust her own instincts. Most manipulators count on their victims being too attached, too loyal, or too afraid to leave. They assume they can push boundaries because the other person will always stick around. But a Sigma female, she has zero fear of cutting people off. The moment she senses manipulation, she emotionally detaches. She doesn't argue, she doesn't plead, she just leaves, and once she's gone for good. If someone tries to manipulate a Sigma female, they will regret it. Here's why. 1. She'll pretend not to notice. At first, a Sigma female doesn't react right away. She watches, she listens, she lets the manipulator expose themselves. She won't call them out immediately because she wants to see how deep the deception runs. She'll flip the script. Once she's figured out the game, she plays it better. She starts mirroring the manipulator's tactics, making them confused. She pretends to be fooled while secretly planning her exit. And when the manipulator thinks they've won, she walks away without warning. She'll cut you off forever. Unlike most people who might give manipulators multiple chances, a Sigma female only gives one chance. The moment she decides you're untrustworthy, you're done. She won't explain. She won't argue. She just disappears. And once she's gone, she never looks back. A Sigma female is unshakable, unemotional, and untouchable when it comes to manipulation. She sees through every lie, every trick, and every attempt to control her. She doesn't argue. She just walks away. She doesn't need closure. Silence is her closure. What happens when a Sigma female goes full savage mode? This is the moment most people never see coming. A Sigma female may seem calm, collected, and unbothered most of the time. She doesn't engage in petty conflicts. She doesn't seek attention. She doesn't waste time proving herself. But when someone crosses the line, when they betray her, disrespect her, or try to manipulate her, that's when she switches. And the switch is silent, but deadly. When a Sigma female goes full savage mode, she doesn't scream, she doesn't beg, she doesn't chase. She does something far more powerful. She walks away, she rebuilds, and she thrives, while you become just another lesson in her story. Most people expect revenge to be loud, dramatic, and messy, but a Sigma female doesn't have time for theatrics. She understands that the best way to handle betrayal is not to argue or seek revenge, but to walk away without a single word. The moment she realizes that someone has lied to her, used her, or disrespected her, she mentally disconnects. And when she's done, she's done. There are no second chances, no explanations, no emotional breakdowns, just silence. And that silence, that's the part that destroys people the most. Because when a Sigma female goes cold, she doesn't just block you, she erases you. You no longer exist in her world. Your name, your presence, your influence, gone. Society teaches people to fight for relationships, to argue, to plead, to demand closure. But a Sigma female doesn't play by those rules. She knows that walking away without a word is the strongest move she can make. Why? Because it shows she doesn't need you. The moment she senses disloyalty, she's already planning her exit. She's emotionally disciplined. While others lash out in anger, she remains calm and strategic. She values her peace over everything. If someone disrupts her mental or emotional well-being, they're removed instantly. Here's what most people fail to understand about a Sigma female. When she loses something or someone, she doesn't dwell on it. She upgrades. If she loses a job, she finds a better one. If she's betrayed by a friend, she levels up her circle. If she walks away from a toxic relationship, she thrives on her own, becoming even stronger, more successful, and more confident. And the best part? She doesn't announce it. She doesn't post about it. She doesn't seek validation. She just does it. By the time the people who wronged her realize what happened, it's too late. They see her glowing, succeeding, and moving forward, while they're still stuck wondering how they lost someone so valuable. How a Sigma female handles conflict without losing control. When most people are hurt, they act emotionally. They react out of anger, sadness, or frustration. But a Sigma female, she does the opposite. She stays logical. She stays in control. She never lets her emotions dictate her actions. She doesn't argue with people who don't deserve her energy. She doesn't explain herself to those who misunderstand her on purpose. She doesn't seek revenge, because her success is the only revenge she needs. Instead, she focuses on herself, her growth, her goals, her future, And that's what makes her truly untouchable. When a Sigma female enters her savage mode, people learn some very hard lessons. Here's what happens when someone loses her. They realize too late what they lost. A Sigma female doesn't leave in anger, she leaves in silence. And when she's gone, she's really gone. No warnings, no explanations, just absence. And that absence, it hits hard. People who took her for granted suddenly realize that she was the only one who truly had their back, the only one who was honest, the only one who genuinely cared. But by the time they understand this, she's already moved on. They see her level up without them. The most painful thing about losing a Sigma female, watching her glow up without you. She doesn't just move on, she thrives. She becomes more successful, more confident, and more at peace. She finds better opportunities, better relationships, and better environments that align with her worth. And the person who hurt her, they're left behind, stuck in the same cycle, wondering why they can't replace her. They regret underestimating her. People often mistake a Sigma female's quiet nature for weakness. They think she'll tolerate disrespect, that she'll always be there, that she'll forgive easily. But when she switches into savage mode, they see the truth. She's not afraid to burn bridges. She's not scared of being alone. She doesn't need anyone who doesn't treat her right. And that's the kind of power most people never see coming. The final transformation, the Sigma female's ultimate comeback. A Sigma female's savage mode isn't about revenge, it's about transformation. It's about taking everything that was meant to break her and using it to build herself into someone even stronger. She channels pain into power. She turns betrayal into wisdom. She converts loss into opportunity. And by the time she's finished rebuilding herself, she's unrecognizable, unstoppable, untouchable. So if someone thinks they can break a Sigma female, manipulate her, or control her, they'll soon learn the truth. You don't break a Sigma female, you just make her more powerful. Picture this. A Sigma female discovers a close friend has been spreading lies about her. Does she argue? Does she expose them? Number. She lets their own actions destroy them. While they waste energy trying to control a narrative, she's already 3 steps ahead, elevating herself, making moves in silence. And when they realize she's gone for good, it's already too late. So if you ever meet a Sigma female, respect her space, honor her independence, and never, ever underestimate her silence. Because once she goes full savage mode, there's no coming back. Have you ever seen a Sigma female unleash her power? Tell me in the comments below. And don't forget, our next video dives deeper into female empowerment, so hit subscribe and stay tuned. Strong sparkles.